let's break down the practices that make a sustainable business actually sustainable. To do so, we're going to lean on an excellent tool for measuring the impact of a business, the B Impact Assessment. The B Impact Assessment is a tool created by the nonprofit organization B Lab, which allows businesses to put a number, or an impact score, as they call it, behind their social and environmental impact. Using the tool, businesses assess their current impact, see how they compare to other similar businesses, and ultimately build a plan around how they can improve their score. If a business is so interested, once they've met the minimum required impact score, which is 80, they can then submit for certification to officially become part of the certified B Corporation community. There are two levels here. At a high level, sustainable businesses measure their impact, assess where their greatest opportunity for improvement is, improve, and then repeat. B Corps and other businesses use that B Impact Assessment to continuously go through that 4-part exercise. At the next level, there are specific policies and day-to-day practices that sustainable businesses take on. Again, using the B Impact Assessment as a guide, they've identified 4 overarching impact areas: governance, community, environment, and customers. Let's define and look at specific examples of specific practices and policies that fall underneath each impact area. First, there's the governance impact area. The governance impact area assesses a company's mission, ethics, level of transparency, and internal and external accountability. Assessment questions in this impact area include, for example, does the company publicly share information about its social and/or environmental performance on an annual basis? Companies like Oliver Russell, Patagonia, All Good Products, and Dr. Bronner's share impact reports where they talk about their progress and as well shortcomings on various social and environmental business practices. Or another question, separate from a mission statement, what has your company done to legally ensure that its social and environmental performance continues to be part of decision-making over time, regardless of changes in ownership? If available in their state or province, companies will adopt a benefit corporation legal status. This will ensure that their social and environmental mission is preserved regardless of changes in ownership. If not incorporated as a benefit corporation, a company is at risk of legal threat from investors if some pursuit of public good comes at the expense of financial performance. I recommend reading more on this with our post at ENSEMBLE, What is a B Corp? And as well checking out my friend Russ Stoddard's post, How do you tell a B Corp from a benefit corporation? A final example question in this impact area, what sort of information does the company make publicly available and transparent? This question again focuses on transparency as it relates to social and environmental performance, and as well financial performance as to who or what entities possess ownership in a company. Companies might choose to use an open book management style where employees can all visibly see the performance of the company financially, expenses, incomes, salaries, etc. This level of transparency and accountability ensures that businesses that strive to be sustainable, like certified B corporations, are in fact walking the walk. Next, there's the community impact area. The community impact area assesses a business's social and economic impact on the community or the communities in which it operates. Example questions in this impact area include, how does your company take part in civic engagement? Possible answers for this question include things like financial or in-kind donations, community use of company facilities, advocacy for social and environmental progress, pro bono work, and more. Or another question, what was the percentage of per capita worker time donated as volunteer, community service, or pro bono time? Companies are asked to report on what percentage of total work time was allocated towards community service or pro bono time on a scale of 0 to 5%. Or another very important question, what characteristics apply to the financial institution that provides the majority of your company's banking services? There are plenty of ways in which a company can make an impact with their standard business operations. This question of who a company banks with is a clear example of that. The B Impact Assessment awards points for companies that use banks that are certified community development financial institutions, co-ops or credit unions, or members of the Global Alliance of Banking on Values, or of course as well certified B corporations. Third, there's the environment impact area. The environmental impact area assesses how a company manages their environmental impacts and as well their resource uses. Assessment questions in this impact area include, Are your company's products, services, or processes structured to preserve or restore the environment? This question speaks as to whether or not the core of what a business does or sells was constructed to restore or preserve the natural environment. Pila, a certified B Corporation, made the world's first compostable phone case. They made these cases out of an innovative flax stick material that's designed to compost in under 6 months after its end of life. This as an alternative to conventional plastic phone cases that don't degrade or compost ever. Pila manufacture their cases in a creative, innovative way that's an alternative to what's typical practice in the phone case market. This is what makes Pila's model an environmental business model. Another question in the environmental impact area: how does your company manage its greenhouse gas emissions? This question is asking, what's a company's carbon footprint and what are they doing about it? To achieve the highest score here, companies need to be monitoring and recording their emissions. They need to be setting targets to reduce those emissions, and ultimately they need to achieve carbon neutrality, which is where a company is offsetting as much carbon as they are emitting. Companies will turn to organizations like Climate Neutral or We Are Neutral to get help in this process of measuring, reducing, and offsetting their emissions. You might even begin to see climate neutral labels on products out in the world. Similar questions are asked about a company's water or energy usage. Are they recording it? Are they setting goals to reduce their usage? Or maybe are their facilities running off of renewable, more sustainable energy sources? Finally, there's the customer's impact area. The customer impact area evaluates what sort of relationship a company keeps with its direct customers. An example question in this impact area: do any of your company's products or services address a social or economic problem for your customers and or their beneficiaries? Similar to the environmental impact area, this question asks whether there's a direct social impact related to the core of what the business offers to the market. These can be services that offer clean water or electricity to those who haven't had access, or as well improve financial outcomes for low-income individuals. Or these can even be products and services with an educational component, such as independent media, like Grow Ensemble. There are additional questions as to how a company manages and monitors their customer outcome. Do they measure customer satisfaction? Do they share that information publicly? Do they as well monitor the outcomes their products and services have on their customers over time? So, 4 impact areas included in the B Impact assessment, and we shared here some example questions as to illustrate what would be sustainable business practices. What does this all matter? Mind you, we're just briefly summarizing the B Impact assessment. It's quite extensive, and it can take companies extended periods of time, definitely variable on the complexity and the size of the business, just to even gather the information necessary to adequately answer the questions. Walking through a few of these example sustainable business practices is an effort to show you the amount of rigor that these types of businesses go through to assess themselves, look to mitigate or remove any potential negative impacts, and of course, above all, pursue a verifiably positive impact with the operation of their business. Of course, these businesses aren't doing this because they have to. It's because they've committed to measurably use their business as a force for good. From the policies, the business models, the focus on continual improvement, we can very clearly see what are some of the differentiators between businesses who are truly sustainable businesses and those who are not. The B-Lab's B Impact assessment might not be the only means to measure what are sustainable business practices, but I do believe it's one of the best currently available. If you'd like to learn more about the B Corporation certification and all that's required, I recommend visiting the B Impact assessment website directly. Or as well, you might pick up a copy of the B Corp Handbook by Ryan Honeyman and Dr. Tiffany Jana.